Hi beautiful people, this is Lynda Gaiao and we're going to have another episode of looking at the transits or the energy for the week. Last week we were in gate 62, which was all about details and facts, but as we've moved into this week we've now gone into a very different energy. We're still in the throat or the communication and action center, so it's about expression in some form, and this gate 56 is the natural storyteller. So there's this energy that comes through to be able to express through story, to draw on past experiences, and to be able to really bring those through into a story that creates an idea or some kind of something for us to, like an ideal or a belief that we can move into. Now, when you have the 56, you've got this consistent energy in your design to be a storyteller. And if you look at other people with this 56 in their design, you'll notice that they are often really good at describing or illustrating something through their storytelling. You know, they'll always have an example that they're going to share with you in a story format, which will often bring through a lot of clarity by the way that they tell their stories. Now, if you don't have the 56 in your design, all it means is that you don't have consistent access to this storytelling energy. But right now, because the sun is in gate 56, it means that we can all have access to this storytelling energy. One of the things you may notice in the world around us right now is that because this energy is around, there might be pressure for people to feel like they need to tell stimulating stories. The other thing that we want to be aware of at the moment is that communication and action in the human design energy for this week is also in this energy of provoking. So the storytelling that might be coming out right now might have this little bit of a provoking element to it. Now, I have a lot of provoking in my design, and you know, when we hear the word provoking, some people may think that it's a negative, but if people are correct for you, then what provoking does is it actually wakes people up. It encourages them to dive deeper into what is their spirit, so, you know, why are they really here? So just start noticing, you know, if the provoking is not correct, if it's on the other side, what it can sometimes feel like is just prodding and poking, but it just creates irritation and frustration, but doesn't really assist you to move past obstacles or to actually navigate to that spirit. So when we combining it all with the overarching theme for 2020, which is all about us trying to find our inner truth, we've got this mental pressure to find the inner truth. At the moment, there's this provoking energy, and we have the storyteller. So when those are all combined, you can imagine the types of stories that we're going to start seeing over this week that people are going to be telling. And perhaps you can even notice and see yourself trying to tell those types of stories. On the other side of the 56, we have the 11. Now, the 11 is about ideas and concepts. But if you don't have the 56, but you only have the 11, what can happen is you have these great ideas, but you don't have this really flowing and story-like way to be able to express those into the world. The other aspect that I would maybe draw to your attention for this week is about how we can often tell ourselves stories about what's going on in our lives. And we may even charge those stories with a certain amount of emotion, which essentially gives them a little bit extra power or more weight. Now, when you look at these stories, it's important to assess them and say, you know, is this story actually serving me? Is it the truth? Or is it just a layer on top of the truth that I'm living through but really is no longer serving me? And this week, the next couple of days, is an opportunity for you to actually, you know, put a stopper to some of the stories that you've potentially been telling yourself, which are no longer serving you, and in actual fact may actually be holding you back from reaching your full potential. Sometimes we need other people around us to help us see the stories that we're telling ourselves and to help create that break between the two. And I would really want you to ask the question, is this story empowering me? Does it serve me? And if not, then it's potentially time to let go of that story. Now, if you do have that emotion that's really charging the story, you may find it more challenging to release that story from your energy field, from your existence, because It has kind of a power over us when we add emotion to it. And, you know, the emotion together with that can actually create a belief. And beliefs most often, in so many cases, are actually very disempowering because they lock us into a specific way of thinking or being, which does not necessarily align to our life force energy or our vibrational frequency at this time. When you really anchor into the truth of who you are, there really is no belief involved at all. There's a deep knowing, a deep understanding, and a deep knowing, which goes outside or beyond belief. So in the coming days, just notice, are you telling yourself stories? What stories are people around you telling and sharing? And, you know, is that truth, or is it just simply a story? We all have a story that we're living through, because ultimately the whole of life is an illusion. It's a we call it reality, but it's ultimately like a dream that we're all living through. And when we can really embrace our human design is when we can step back out of the dream or within the dream to become the witness, the observer to the dream. Like you're watching yourself, a character within a movie being played out, the story of your life being played out. And as we learn to watch the story of our life is when we can really start to enjoy the journey, as opposed to getting to this place of feeling like we need to kind of control the story, or the story that's unfolding isn't the story we thought we were supposed to have, and all of these things. And as we come back into the truth, when we follow our decision-making strategy, when we anchor into the truth of who we are, we can just let go and surrender to the true story of our lives. I hope you've enjoyed this week's transit update, the energy for the week. If you've got any comments or something that you'd like me to cover more in terms of the world of human design, or BG5, which is the career and business application of the human design system, then pop your comments below. Subscribe if you would like to see more of these, and I hope to hear from you soon. Have a beautiful day, gorgeous souls. Bye for now.